Welcome back to the video darkroom. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I often stabilize in After Effects rather than Premiere Pro. And the first of these is speed. Let's put a stopwatch on and I'll drop Warp Stabilizer onto this clip and we'll test how long it takes in Premiere Pro and then have a look and see how that will work out in After Effects. In order to give it a good test, I'm using a clip which is 5 seconds long, but it is 4K, 10-bit 422 video, and it's been recorded at 100 frames per second. So there are 5 times 100, which is 500 frames to stabilize, which is something that often takes Warp Stabilizer in Premiere a little bit of time to do. So let's see how long it takes. We'll skip straight on to the end at this point, so we don't waste your time watching while Warp Stabilizer works through the clip. Warp Stabilizer has finished its job, and we could play the sequence. And you can see that it hasn't done a great job, but you can see also how long it took. Let's now try this in After Effects and see how that works out. So I'll take Warp Stabilizer back off, and instead of that, I'm going to right click on this and replace with After Effects Composition. It's now open in After Effects, and I'm simply going to click on Warp Stabilizer and click OK on that. Warp Stabilizer is now initializing here, and in a moment it will start running. Again, I'm not going to keep you waiting while we run through the whole thing, but you can see the indication that it is going to do it in much less time. Okay, so Warp Stabilizer has finished the job. I can press spacebar and play that. After Effects plays it a little bit slowly the first time through, but the second time through, once it has rendered the timeline, it will play much faster. Let's just see what kind of job it has done. So there we go. It's done pretty much the same job as Warp Stabilizer in Premiere. It's not ideal. Look at the warping of the background, and that leads us on to the second reason. So the second reason why it's better to use Warp Stabilizer in After Effects is that you have much more control over it. Let me play this timeline again. Now look at how the background is being warped. The reason the background is being warped is Warp Stabilizer is trying to stabilize these hands as well as stabilize the background. And in After Effects, we can change that behavior. So if we go to Advanced, and if we click on Show Track Points here, and we increase the track point size so that they're visible, it may be different on your system, you can see these are the points where Warp Stabilizer has figured it can create a little anchor and stabilize based on that. So what we want to do is eliminate the track points from the hands and just stabilize the background. So the way to do that is select the track points, so you can select all of these track points that are related to the hands. Doesn't matter if you select a few more than you need to, just press delete and they're gone. But you will see that when you move on that they come back again, so you might have to go around this several times, but ultimately you'll reach the point where it's not stabilizing the hands at all. I'm not going to keep you waiting while we do this, so I'll just continue to delete these and keep moving forward. I've eliminated most of the track points, and we'll just go back to the beginning and play it now. Again, After Effects will first of all run through and render the scene. Once it's done that once, then we should be able to play at normal speed. So After Effects has now rendered it, and you can see that it has stabilized it beautifully. The background is no longer warping as it was before we eliminated all those track points on the hand. So you can see that that additional level of control really sets After Effects apart from the warp stabilizer implementation that is in Premiere Pro. If we want to go back to Premiere Pro, we simply save the After Effects composition and go back into Premiere Pro, and we now have it. We can play that. It's slow the first time we play it through. It's probably better to right click on it and click on Render and Replace, which is just up here. So we render and replace. I'm just going to replace it with a QuickTime composition. Say OK on that. It doesn't take too long to do it. It transcodes into, in this case, it's ProRes LT, which will play pretty smoothly, I think, on this computer. Transcoding is complete, and if we play that, you can now see we've got a beautifully stabilized clip, whereas previously it was warping the background very unpleasantly. I have here on my timeline 4 clips that I shot handheld. I want to get nice rotations on these for product shots, and so I'm going to add warp stabilizer to them all and see what kind of a job it does. This last one was shot with a macro lens, a 90mm, so it was very hard to hand hold it. So let's now just select them all and add warp stabilizer to them. It's going to take a minute to stabilize all of those. I'm just speeding it up a little bit so as not to keep you waiting. They're all stabilized now, and I'm just going to play through the stabilized versions. This first one is not too bad, although it does move around a little bit. This is better than it was, but it's still pretty terrible and unsuitable for using. This one is actually quite a good rotation, and then finally this one is better than it was, but still not good enough to use. So I'm going to show you how I would deal with these in After Effects and how I would stabilize them. Let's take the one with the lens, a really challenging one, and I'll demonstrate using this one in After Effects. But before I do that, I need to just remove warp stabilizer for it so that we work off the original clip. I right click on it and replace with After Effects composition. And in After Effects then we have the clip loaded. You can see that it's a pretty shaky clip. So what I'm going to do in order to get a perfect stabilization of this is I'm going to use not warp stabilizer, but stabilize motion. That's in the tracker panel here. If you haven't got that, go to Window and make sure that the tracker is checked, and then go to stabilize motion. And when you go to stabilize motion, you'll find that you have this little target. Let me just make it a little bit larger than it was previously, just so that we can get it right over that lettering. I'll make it a little bit bigger on the vertical scale, just so that we cover it. I'm sure it can synchronize, or it can track on this M that's on the HMC here. So to track this, I'm just going to press the play button to analyze forward, and After Effects will analyze through the whole clip and track the motion of that little piece of lettering on the filter. We'll just advance quickly through that so you don't have to wait for it, even though it doesn't take terribly long, just a few seconds. Once After Effects has tracked that point the whole way through the clip, then we can apply that to the clip in both dimensions, X and Y, to stabilize in both the vertical and horizontal direction. And we now have it done. I'll press home to go to the beginning and press play. And you can see now that it's absolutely rock solid. The only issue with that is that it's had to move the clip around within the frame, and that means that we've got borders on it around the outside. Having done that, I'm just going to save it and go back to Premiere, and here we have the clip. If I play that, you can see that we've got the clip perfectly stabilized, but because it moves around, we've got some black borders on it, so we can pretty quickly deal with that by just maybe moving the scale up to about 120. See how that covers it. We might have to just move it a little bit to the right and move it up. Move it down, yeah, just move it up a little bit. Let's just see how that now works. And that is a beautifully stabilized clip. There's a border appeared at the top just for a moment, so let's just move that up to 120.25 and play it again. And we've got a perfectly stabilized clip. We just quickly transcode the media, render it and replace it. And if I now play that clip, it should play perfectly smoothly. Tiny jump there. Don't know why that was, and a little bit of the border. So that's how I would get a perfect rotation or a perfect stabilization using After Effects. So those were three methods. First was speed, second one was control about what you're stabilizing, and the third is tracking motion by selecting a point that you do not want to move. So I hope you find that useful, and if you do, please subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.